Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing good. Now, today I'm joined by a very special guest. I'm joined by Luke, who is a Man City fan, and today we will preview the game that's coming up this weekend. First of all, how are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you very much. Last night we won, and we've been probably the worst English team, which is rare for us to be the worst English team in the Champions League. But we're through 3-1, wasn't pretty, but got the win. So
Yeah.
I'm feeling good today. Feeling good.
Yeah, I feel like Arsenal at the moment. We're getting the job done, but our performances haven't been the best either. But I wanted to touch on your season before we speak about the game because obviously last season, you did really well. Obviously won the league and we got quite close to you. And this season, you're in sort of a different position now where you're sort of in the top four, trying to, push Liverpool or try and get as far as you can. What do you think sort of went wrong for Man City this season? Because I think you've had the problem like Arsenal, you've had injuries, a few setbacks. Do you think, the injuries have made the season a bit difficult for you? Like, what would you say has happened this season for you guys?
Well, I think for me, the issue starts way back last season because I think missed in 2023 after we won treble. We should have got better players than what we did in that summer. We got
Mhm.
Kovacic in who I like, but we got Nunez in
Yeah,
rather than where Bellingham was right there. And Bellingham was a player that I think if we had got him in right now, Foden, Haaland, it would have been probably the perfect player for us right now. Obviously, went Madrid. I get it, Madrid.
yeah,
You can't you can't beat that, unfortunately. But
yeah,
the issues were last season we relied so much on players bailing us out all the time. Foden, Rodri, Haaland at times, Kevin De Bruyne at times. It wasn't a team collective at times. And don't get me wrong. Obviously, last year we actually fought well, obviously, but I think Arsenal last season should have won the league last year because on the
yeah,
look at it, if you had just focused on in that Villa game, you probably would have won the league, and that's probably where for me. Obviously, I'll take it. Of course, you will. Four in a row, you're at least out of any point you take. But I think for you guys, what you like us, you haven't learned from your mistakes. But this in the summer, and like I did now, I think now this season, we did it best properly in the squad. Obviously, we've got Savio in, who's a great player. He's been showing how good he is for his
yeah,
age. Gundogan's 34. He's not the same player he used to be. He's not a terrible player. He's still a very good player, but he's not a
yeah,
starting player for us like he was a couple of years ago, where he was probably one of the best players in the league. And for you, same thing. Jesus, Sterling. It's like you're trying to
mm,
go for City players that have gone past it, which again, Sterling's not a terrible player, but he ain't the same player he was with us.
yeah.
That and I think everyone sees it now. That was his peak. That's his career now, sadly.
Yeah, I think we both are having the same sort of problems because I think when the season ends you've really got to think what can you do now to push on next season because last season I felt like you said it was just a tough one to take really like if we'd won certain games in hindsight we would have won the league but I felt quite optimistic about this season and I think for both of us it's just this game coming up as well is going to be a big one because I think at the moment I know you guys are fourth. Would you say that in the league, would you just say you're trying to stay around the top four, or do you feel like you want to try and get as close to maybe us or Liverpool? Because I think Liverpool, I do feel like the league is theirs, but I know Arsenal. I think we're like a little bit away from Liverpool at the moment. What would you say your aim is for the league right now?
At the moment, I'm focusing on getting top four secured because I think the
Yeah.
thing the thing is for us this season, Liverpool aren't really good. Their fans will hate me saying that, but we them that really compared to other teams they've had. But because the problem is they haven't need to be much better than what they are because Arsenal keep stuttering going. City went on a massive one win in 13, which threw us way off the title. Now we're getting there, but it's still a few way points off Liverpool. So we'd like some points to be dropped from Liverpool's end for us to have a chance in
Yeah.
that area again. The problem is, I think for me and the City fans themselves, we've got to accept that at the moment, top four is priority. So for me, I want to get third above Forest. Then we'll get third again. Then push towards you guys in second. It's one position at a
Yeah.
time. It sounds like it's very boring, but you've got to have that kind of mindset because for us, we've won the league in the last 4 years in a row.
Mm.
To win five in a row was hard anyway. It seemed impossible years anyway. But we've got to just accept that where we are right now is because of bad recruitment, injuries, and just the whole squad just falling apart because it's just not the level it used to be of a couple of years ago, which is fine. It's football. Winning teams can't win forever. Eventually, you got to keep
Yeah.
changing the team. Like we have, how obviously with Marmoush, Hudson-Odoi, and young players coming in, but it's going to take a while for us to get back to that level again. So I think for me, if it's top four and like FA Cup, I'm taking it because it's still a trophy. It's not where we want to be really, but sometimes you've got to accept that in order to get back to where you have, you've got to accept
Yeah.
where you've been, pushed to get better and better. Obviously, next season going forward.
I mean, I think, like you said, if you're able to get top four and still win some silverware, I think with you guys, like even if you didn't win anything and you came top four, I feel like you could afford to do that because of the recent years you've had. And I think with us, like if we finish second or third, or just top four, I feel like we can't afford to do that. I think because you've had such a great success with Pep, I feel like you sort of earn the right to maybe have an off season. I think that's okay personally, but I think you guys, like you said, I always say you got to take it each game at a time because Forest are doing really well. You wouldn't ever really put them in top four, and I think it wouldn't surprise me if they did come second or overtook Arsenal's position because I think for us I think like yourself, you're getting good results, but the performances aren't perfect or aren't really how they were last season. But I wanted to touch on Haaland as well because I know he signed a deal with the club for a while, and I want to just get your thoughts on him this season because obviously at the moment you are getting the results and he has scored a few recently, but I feel like you went through a patch where he was really struggling to score and we know how great he can be, but what have you sort of made of him this season and him signing that new deal?
Well, the way he started was unbelievable. Probably his best
Mm,
ever start. I mean, obviously you watched him against Arsenal. He brought Gabriel with a real battle, and I said before he can do it against Van Dijk, Saliba, really good. Put him when he's on it, give him the chances, and he's into the game. He's hard for anyone. The problem is when you haven't gotten to give him the service and you don't play the style that suits him. Against Chelsea, we played long balls to him and he loved it. He had to hold
yeah,
the ball down, bring Foden that into play. I'm not saying Pep's got to change his whole style of play, but you've got to try and implement things that help him out to get him more
yeah,
goals. And I think that's what Pep's learning from now. I think he's going to probably start going forward. But in terms of Haaland, I think considering what he's had to go through, he's been pretty
hmm
good. I know he's behind Salah. He shouldn't be Salah. He's ahead by now, really.
yeah,
But the problem is the way he's been playing. Is not. He's had bad games, but I don't think anyone's saying it's the issue of the mistakes. There's a lot more than just him that's obviously behind our lack of form. But I'll give a lot of he scored some really good goals this season, and he's sort of really showing that the willingness to keep pushing and fight. And even if he doesn't score, he's still there for his teammates, and that's probably why he signed his long contract because I think he's happy
yeah,
here. But obviously, he's got a kid, obviously a kid on the way. Obviously, his girlfriend's got a new house now, so I think he wants to be here for the long, long term. I think
yeah,
the club's got to build it around him and Phil Foden because these are going to be the two main players for us now, probably going forward for the next 10 or so years anyway. You might as well start building this team now with like Marmoush and that players that have a little bit more quality. This is where we start seeing that era of like Kevin De Bruyne is 33, 34. He's going to be
yeah,
well. I think I'll sign one deal probably, but he'll be gone in the next few years because he's going to get obviously slower and slower and slower. Obviously, still a great player, Drick
yeah,
and Cruz as they got older and still found a way to be very good. But when the pace goes, you sort of see it in this league as well, it ain't good because you got to have a bit of legs in you to sort of survive. But as of Haaland, I think he's done, I'd say, fairly well for what's around him. But we all know how good he is when he's given that
yeah.
service. I think when it happens, you'll see a very one.
Yeah, I think he's a great player. I really do. I think this season, I think teams will go through tough times. I think it's good that he's been able to, turn it around at the moment. And I think for this game at the weekend, I think it's always a tough test when we play up against him. I mean, like you said, with Gabriel and him, it's always I quite enjoy the sort of rivalry now with both of our teams because I know. I know this season, we probably won't win the league, but I think both teams really do need that win. With Liverpool at the top, winning quite a lot of games. I mean, I think for Arsenal, we've had chances to close that gap, I think, and we've just not. Like, I think injuries has been a big part. I mean, in the window, we've not really done anything. I know we're linked to Watkins, but it's all a bit nothing at the moment. And I wanted to ask you about Arsenal's season because you mentioned before that we've gone quite close to winning it. I know last season we had a great chance, and feels like we've improved a lot. We've just our squads this season though. I think the injuries have been because I mean Saka's missed a lot. I do really miss him. But what have you made of Arsenal season? Now to compare to sort of last season because we. I think with the title race, I think it's still slightly open, but I don't think we could probably do it if we're not gonna make any changes in the window.
I think this game gets even more intense if Bournemouth get with Liverpool Saturday. Because the thing is, their fans are fearing us more than you because they hate us.
Yeah,
Because we're on the chair, as you know yourselves, and we've got the bit between our teeth, hard stop. Now, for me, on Sunday, obviously I've got to do a season a little bit. It's more about for us, it's just getting more points to secure top four.
yeah,
It's more for a long term rather than the here and now for me. Like obviously it's a big win if we do win on Sunday. Thinking more about get above Forest, get above them, get them out of the way. Then we're top three, obviously with you two, and we can start sort of seeing where it goes. That's what I'm looking at the moment. But in terms of your season, I've got to say it has been good. I mean, if like Champions League was, it's been okay. Obviously, you did way better than we did. But when I watch the games back, I think you're not really what you could have been. I think the
yeah,
games you could very easily have won more. So could have we, but we're a whole different issue itself. But with you guys, I mean, certain players have had enough. Yeah, I think that Saka's been that
yeah,
injury's been coming for a long time now because the club didn't invest in backup for him. He needs it. Like at least they would be ill for you guys right now because he's been right in there. A player to come in, do a job. Probably no one's good a player as him, and probably will help. And Martinelli, players like that, good player, but not consistent enough. Trossard, the exact
yeah,
same. Havertz, he's just not. I don't know what he is because is he a striker, is he a builder? You a striker up front. It's been obvious now for years since the back left. I've no idea when we just get a striker like Gyökeres or someone like that. Put a bit of money into a good striker. We'll see anyone improve in the team.
yeah,
I think Ethan Mallory's brilliant. What a player he is, 17 years
yeah,
old. But what more about him is the same thing happened with Saka. Is he
yeah,
overuse him constantly? Like Pep. Pep rotates Rico, rotates Bob, rotates Foden. Foden got as a team over time and then got the player he is now. Arteta doesn't have that patience because the club then
yeah,
don't invest properly in the squad to allow these young players to get like Liverpool in that to get that game time over time, not constant game time. Because the thing is, even though they're young players, they're not ready for the league constantly yet. Like even Saka himself should a lot of rotation.
mm,
And
yeah,
that's why I think you'll see it yourself. And I'll probably the fans who will comment on this afterwards will probably see what I'm saying. Arsenal for me missed out so much. I mean, Declan Rice great signing last summer, but even it has been consistently good signings overall because you haven't really improved the squad like you should have done. Sterling was a terrible move. I don't know what
mm,
I'm thinking getting a player from Chelsea who's obviously not the same player anymore. Even I can see it ain't gonna be the same player for you guys. You need someone actually good who can come in there and make an impact.
yeah,
You just need, I think, some proper. It's not Arteta's fault for me. Arteta has been, I think, has an idea himself. It's been. I'm sure he made a lot of mistakes, but the
yeah,
board don't help him out. The board on. I mean,
mm,
what Watkins move? Look, he's a good striker, right? But I don't think Ollie Watkins is your answer. He's a good striker. He's a striker. He definitely will improve you guys right now. But you need like a Gyökeres or a Vlahovic or someone more about them who could.
yeah,
Because I think Watkins is what Villa are different to Arsenal. They're not the same style of play. Watkins wouldn't ask the same way that you as a Villa. I think that's where you guys are right now. You've got to find a player up front, also rest team as well, but striker importantly, who could hold the ball up, bring other players into play. It gives a bit more, less pressure on Saka to get all the goals for you. Bit
yeah,
like more. The problem is the club got no money. That's the thing.
It's a tough one, isn't it? Because like you made some great points. Like I think the Sterling one, I definitely think that was a panic buy because I think it might have been sort of the last day of the window or the last few days, and we just brought him. I think we had to bring him in because Reece Nelson's gone out on loan, and our options are quite limited. But yeah, it's he isn't. There's no doubt, like you said, he can. He's got good moments, but I just feel like you said, at Chelsea he wasn't doing great, and it just wasn't ever really the right player at the right time. I think if we'd bought him when he was, in the Euros when he was at his best, I think then it's a different story. But I think, like you said, with sort of, Zinchenko, Jesus, like at the time when we bought them, they were the right players for us. But now, I mean, Jesus was doing really well, but obviously that injury came at a bad time. But I think with Zinchenko, I think we've needed to move him on for a while, like Jesus. But yeah, like you said with the Saka thing, him being burnt out is this is why it's happened because I do think Saka wants to play like every game if he can, but I think Arteta's got to know when to not play him every game because, like, if we're playing Preston in the FA Cup or if we're playing a team that we know we can win without him, then I think we have to rest him. But yeah, I think the window for us hasn't been great, and that's sort of why it sort of happened. I think out of our signings, though, Calafiori has been really good. I'm happy with him. But I think, like you said, Ollie Watkins, it's an interesting one because I'm not really bothered how much we pay for him, but I think it's a good point of the fact I think he's nearly 30, and I think is he gonna elevate this team? Like, could I imagine him in a few years being like an Arsenal legend? Like, I don't know, like an Henry, if you could put him up that level in time. And I don't know if I see that, but I do think he would improve our squad now. Um, but I don't know. I love him, but I just don't know like what we would do in the summer as well. Because I kind of felt like we were gonna go big in the summer and buy a big striker. But yeah, I don't really know what. So do you feel like it would work with Ollie Watkins? I mean, because I sort of think the way we're playing, sometimes we're quite repetitive. Shove a cross in the box, hope someone gets it. I just don't know. Would he fit into how we play right now?
I the thing is, right, Ollie Watkins is okay. He's a great striker.
Yeah,
That's good for Aston Villa. Aston Villa are a good team. They beat us this season. Like Morgan Rogers used to be our player, but that's a whole different thing. I think for me, with exit doing well, it's kind of hindsight's a wonderful thing of that one. That Palmer would have a better
yeah,
level of us. He was at Chelsea with us, which wouldn't have been that. Wouldn't have happened. But for Watkins especially, I think I think he's too old now. If he's like 25, 26,
yeah,
fine.
yeah. You just,
But with strikers and with their pace, we all know it ourselves. It starts going down, and I don't think I don't think Watkins is the kind of player to hold the ball up. You need a striker. I'm not saying you need Haaland because that's not the play you really need. You
yeah,
need someone like Gyökeres or someone like that who can do that, but also on his own can sort of do it himself. You need someone who's
yeah,
willing to put a bit about the ego, sort of gravitate players to him. Like again, like Haaland away for us, but it's your next stage because
mhm,
you, you'll admit yourself, right, going forward. It's frustrating watching Arsenal at times because you just think you get goals, but the thing
yeah,
is, there's one thing about your team that you're lacking is a striker who puts the ball back and end the game off. Like on Sunday, right? Even if you score first, right? I'm thinking, well, we've got Marmoush, we've got Haaland, we've got players who score goals, and at the back as well, and in the driver, effectively been a lot weaker than they were last year because I think the lack of goals getting now is having an impact on the defence and confidence in our team. So
yeah,
I think Watkins for me is not the answer. I think he's a great striker. He'll score goals for you, of course he will, but
yeah.
it's going to play that will be what if we've got someone different who could have been younger and done a lot more long term. Like you need a long term striker, not a short term 2 or 3 year striker.
Yeah.
That's what,
Yeah, I think like you said, I mean, I've said this, like I'm happy if we loaned in like a striker, I don't know, from like a different league or whoever it is. I don't mind us loaning one, just for the season and then permanently find someone. Because like you said, I think the strike has always been a problem the last few years. I feel like you'd have to bring in the striker that it's going to be there for maybe 5 years or a good amount of time. Like Haaland, he's going to be at your City for a little while. I mean, we never know how long Haaland will stay, but I do
Yeah.
think he will be at City for a lot longer. Um, so I feel like Arsenal sort of needs someone to just be there for a while to be that guy because it's interesting with Havertz because when we brought him in, I never really saw him as that striker because I always felt, are we going to play him in midfield? And I think the problem is, unfortunately, these players like just can't give us what we need. And like we mentioned, it goes back to Saka having to rely on him to do the job of a striker and the other roles. So I feel like for this game at the weekend, I think we've just got to put out the best team that we can with these injuries and I just think it's going to be tough, really, because, like we said, you need the win, like you said, to stay in top four. But we also need that win because if there's any chance of us getting close to Liverpool, or at least just, I think we've just got to maintain where we are because we've had chances to close that gap and we're just not able to. But with the game at the weekend, how are you feeling? Because I know you guys have been getting the results. Like we said, Arsenal haven't played the best, and we've been able to get some results, which I sometimes wonder how we have. But how are you sort of feeling playing against Arsenal?
The thing is, I think it's a weird one because going forward, I think we will score at least one, I reckon, on Sunday, or maybe even two on
Yeah,
Sunday. The issue with us is it's the midfield. If we're playing right midfielders, we'll be okay. The thing is, we play three midfielders that are 34 or averaging 34. You're going to see your midfield get through that, and it depends on what Pep starts with on Sunday. Because look, obviously, I haven't got DM, haven't got Rodri. If you Rodri fit, I think it's going to be a win for us because we have the midfield sorted out. And I think we just have to get over the line. It's going to be a hard one. I think it's going to be a very boring first half. A very
Mm.
boring because it's just big game. Both managers don't want to do too much straight away. Because I think
Yeah,
Arteta realizes now that I think he might have made himself obviously not in the least, but you can't thinking we need to get some form going here. We're not thinking about that right
yeah,
now. If we win and let's say Liverpool lose, that's 3 points gained. It's not a massive, massive turnaround, but it's a slight little mentality edge to us, and it gives Liverpool something to think about. Whereas if you win, it's
yeah,
something to think about for Liverpool. But I think even for you, if you win the game, you will definitely drop points at some point again because
yeah,
you haven't got a goal threat. Or it'd be a big win to have a City. But in terms of title race, this game won't say anything in terms of the league. It won't because it's a big game for both of us right now, where both of us are at the moment. But the
yeah,
fan, I'm not bothered about the league really because it's like it's January, February, and we're not that good yet to think about at least. Oh yeah, I'm still like she was wanting to win, but I'm not
yeah,
sitting here thinking we're back. I'm thinking we've got a long way to go before we're anywhere near the level that's required. And Liverpool themselves haven't been good either, by the way. They've been getting
mm,
wins here and there, grinding it out, but they're getting their wins because they know themselves, right? They haven't got to be that good to beat to be ahead of us because they know where both of us are right now. But
it,
it all
it yeah. Yeah, it's so tough, I think. I mean, I've also heard that I think hopefully David Raya, if he better be available. I know he's been injured, and Neto played yesterday, but I just hope with our players right now, if they can stay fit for this game. The only sort of where I see us scoring is with Ethan Wanyeri. I mean, I hope he does play. He did play a lot yesterday. I think he played like a full game, but like we mentioned before, he reminds me of sort of Saka when he came through like the academy. Like he just sort of brings that excitement and joy. And I think with Arsenal, I think we are struggling with goals. I think Trossard and obviously you've got Califuori. I think our defenders at the moment are scoring a lot. But I think if Neri can play, I think that should be our way forward. But yeah, I think for Arsenal, I think it's going to be very very tough. I think Odegaard's another one. Odegaard's been playing through like illnesses and now he's not being well, and I feel like for him this is going to be a big game for him. I feel like we need him to sort of step up and do what he can do at his best. And this game is always going to be tough. But for you, which like Man City player do you feel like needs to really step up for this game?
Oh, that's a very good question, that, because the thing is, a lot of them do it really. I think Mamouche, look, he just got here. He's just a player, but we can't be, saying that yet. He's just still got one game. I think for me, it's still Foden, because Foden's been
Yeah,
getting your goals here and there, not set back. Like, look, last season you were probably the best young player in the world at that point last season. I know Bellingham was good last year as well, but the problem is this season. Look, people will say, "Oh, he had injuries and all like that," but at the end of the day, right, when he played, he wasn't good enough first half season. Recently, he's been pretty good, but he's got this is a big game that he's got to step up and deliver him, because Chelsea he did pretty well, but
yeah,
again, it's not. It's just one game. To me, you got to do it every game. A world class player. I don't rate both players because they're both very young and need to be doing it every season. Because
yeah,
again, the world class players I like De Bruyne. Has been doing years. Saliba for me isn't world class, but it's not. But he will be world class soon.
yeah,
It's everyone gets excited about big players. I get it. When you got a player like Saliba and he's doing so well, you want to call him world class, but have a little bit of a standard. Say, oh, look, if he does this every, let's say, 2 or 3 years in a row, then yeah, he's world class. But you got to see a bit more than that. But that's why I'm saying good player, by the way. That's just why I am
yeah.
world class. I can't call my in my own team. I'd say Kevin De Bruyne and Haaland are world class players. Haaland was doing it for
Mm,
Dortmund before that. It's just it's holding your players to like, all right, let's say like Saka last year was unbelievable. Brilliant. This year he started really well, but obviously got injured. You hold your
yeah,
players to that level. Right, well, can you keep doing it again? Can you keep going and keep delivering that as post? Foden hasn't done it every year. There is where he's been injured or times as they featured, odd goals here and there. Last year was the best season by far, but this
mm,
year, not so much. Obviously, he's recently doing better. I think for me, Foden one player needs up in a game like this Sunday
yeah.
for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think Foden last season was amazing and he did really good. But I think this season, I think you want to see a bit more from him, a bit more goals, and that's been happening recently. But yeah, I think this game's going to be big for him if he does play. I just wanted to say hi to AFC always. My nearest star boy, if I'm honest, I think he's technically better than Saka. That's interesting. I'm convinced Odegaard is doing 90 for his new bonkers though. Yeah, he's not being as good. I mean, I think
No.
if we're in the position at the moment where we have to sort of play players that are injured because we don't have sort of the squad depth
Yeah.
to be able to give him
Uh,
a rest.
yeah.
But I think with Odegaard, like I presume he'll play if he's feel like he can play. But I think for him, I think we do need to see more goals from him. Even assists or just some way of getting excited by his performances. But I do think, if you're playing through an injury or an illness, you shouldn't really have to do that. So I feel like when he's rested and he can perform, he's really good. But I think he's sort of that player, if he is playing, that I do really want to see a big performance from him at the weekend. But for Man City, what sort of lineup would you put out for the game?
Oh, good question. For me, this is what I would want, but Pep won't do this, but this is
Yeah.
what I would like to see. I think Edison's goal. I think recently he's been sort of getting better recently. He's been a lot more like himself. So
Mm,
Edison goes in goal again. Right back. I mean, probably Nunez is he's playing Nunez there right now instead of anyone else. For me, I would go Husanov or someone like that. I think Husanov's got the pace. But I think
yeah.
he's actually quite a good player. Chelsea didn't start really well, but he's not. He's actually a pretty good defender when he's got confidence behind the ball. I think give him a couple of months, he will be a good player in this league. I just think we got to just tell him like you got to chill, no pressure. But you've got players around who can help you out as well. Give him a little bit, he'll get good. I think for me, I start him right back. I would go John Stones and I think Akanji, then to the centre back.
Yeah.
I think Diaz isn't quite back yet. Ake's close as well, but not fully fit yet. At left back, I would go Guardiola because I think Guardiola's brilliant. I think one of the best defenders in the league for me. He's just one of them players that can do it all and much. I'd go Kovacic and Bernardo Silva in midfield. I'd go Foden in the middle,
Yeah,
and I'd go Marmoush Savini on the wings and Holden up front. I think De Bruyne is for this game is probably better off the bench. Kev's a great player, but I want Kev off the bench for a bit of impact because he can do that. I think
yeah,
we've got to use like the pace of Marmoush because Marmoush is an unknown player for Arteta and Arsenal now because thinking is a
yeah.
new, whole different player that will probably cause a lot of issues for Arsenal defence, and that's probably where you can be careful. So it'll be interesting to see how we are going forward. I think that's what I'd go with. I know Pep will go something completely different. If I'm going off
Yeah.
what I've seen already, that's what I'd go with.
Yeah, I think I definitely agree. I think that would be a good lineup, and I think, like you said, if we're not expecting one of those players and they do start, I think it'll be a definitely like tough test for us to adjust to that. Um, but yeah, I think that was definitely a good lineup, and I think it's going to be a tough game. And obviously, with Arsenal's injuries, I don't right know 100% who's available. I think obviously if Raya's fit, he can. I definitely we need him in goal. Back four for Arsenal, Lewis Skelly. Yeah, he can play actually. Gabriel Saliba, I hope he can play for this. But yeah, Timber as well has been doing really well at right back. Now the midfield, if Arsenal are fit, and I would play, Partey, Rice, Odegaard. I mean, if Odegaard's not fit, I think, it'd be a bit of a blow. I mean, he's our captain, and I think we do really need him in this game. And the attacking three, I mean, we don't really have like the most options. And I think that's the problem as well. It's like if you look at Arsenal's bench, we don't really have anyone that I would could change the game. I mean, the only player that I would, I mean, Calafiori, if he comes off the bench, he's probably gonna get a banger if he can. But I think with our front three, I think you've got to go Havertz up top, Odegaard, Trossard, and then Ranieri. But I think that's our problem is that we don't really have, those options. And I mean, Martinelli as well. If you bring him on off the bench, I don't know what you could really do. So yeah, I think that lineup will definitely be our best one. But what are your score predictions for the game?
It won't be a high scoring game. It won't be.
No.
It's going to be a very, very grind. It could be a draw, really. It could be a 1-1 draw. But I'll back City 2-1 on this one. But it ain't going to be a game for both teams. I think both teams know where they are right now. They're not at their fluid best. Injuries have ruled certain players out.
Yeah.
It'll probably depend on who's more clinical and who has the better fitness in the squad. So I'll go 2-1 City, but it could be a draw. It could be a draw.
Yeah, I'm just feeling like 1-1. Like I think we're both as teams. We both need to get that result, but I think we're both at a sort of similar position where we've had a tough season, and I think you just can't predict Arsenal and City going into this game. It's so tough because I think with Arsenal, I have no doubt they'll fight and try and get the win in, put in a good performance. I mean, I think Maneri will, if he starts, will have a great game, but I think for me, it's like it's going to be tough because I don't know which Arsenal will turn up. Will it be the one that takes their chances, or will it be the one that has like we have a lot of possession a lot of the time and we just don't do anything with it? So I feel like it's going to be tough. And I think at the moment, like I think it's sort of a bad time to play because I think you're getting those results, you're picking up a bit of form, and I think it's going to be really tough. But yeah, I think it's going to be like a close game. I don't think it's going to be like a 3-2. I think it's going to be quite close because I think both teams, like I said, both really needs to get that win. And yeah, I'm just going to go for a draw. I mean, it's never sort of a boring game when we play each other, but I think both teams, don't want to lose. So I feel like it's going to be a really tough one, but I'm really looking forward to the game the weekend. And Luke, thank you so much for coming on today. It's been great to chat about each other's seasons, the game, the weekend. Do you want to just tell people where they can find what you do?
Yep. So I actually got a channel called Not My Normal Lifetime Podcast, NIML. Look it on YouTube; it'll come up on the page. On the road to 1K subscribers now. Do a lot of City content, but also a mixture of a lot of rival fans as well. So it's a bit more of a community channel or anything else, but it's going really well. And yeah, obviously on Twitter as well as putting obviously in
Yeah.
the funnel anyway. But yeah, I've got a channel. If you want to see City content, that's where I'm at.
Yeah, please do check it out and do give them a follow on Twitter as well. But I hope you all that have watched this have enjoyed the show. Hope you're all looking forward to the game at the weekend as well. And I will see you all in my next video. Bye.